I'm in such a hurry to see what is down in here. It's both a very big firing and just another firing. I've never put something 15 inches tall on one side with shelves on the other. I didn't have enough half shelves. It's a small kiln, so I found some broken pieces. And to use up, I didn't think that I'd be able to fill the kiln efficiently, so they hang over onto this side with the plate going over onto this side. This is the only production functional standard line piece in here. But even this has come a good ways for me with the most simplistic decoration. Black slip combed through with a commercial rib. And I probably need to measure the, get the hydrometer out and see what my glaze is reading, because that is perfect. Okay, let's see the rest of what is in the kiln today. So I couldn't have been more pleased there. I've been doing a lot of these little hors d'oeuvre, snack, mezza, plates, spoon rests, ring dishes, soap plates. They'll fit in a little media box. Okay, and here's how we put one of those pieces I found laying around. They'll fit in a cheapy little media box for shipping, and there are a lot of people that I seem to owe a little gift to. So I've been doing that with these two. I've found out, though, that my classic rooster that goes back forever for me is being eclipsed. Okay, by the Ralph dog. Looks like the glaze settled into one of his eyes a little more than the other. And this is combed through with just my finger when they're wet. Compared to the Sgraffito. I really like and prefer this, but there's not as much control over it. I really like this compared to the Sgraffito. But even this, when I do it, it has a rough, scratchy look to it, but when the glaze comes on, it evens out nicely. And I sometimes use the little stilts because I do like to get the efficient firing, because sometimes I only need a little extra height to get the pots in there. Let's see what we've got down here. I'm going to grab this one first, and yeah, that's what I mean too about the script. This one, I did not like the roughness to the design, but once the glaze is on, it seems to smooth it out, to soften it, to where I do like that. And there's more control maybe with this, but it's harder to do, hard to describe. It's like learning skiing versus learning snowboarding. One is you learn quicker, but it's harder to get past a certain point with the snowboard, and skiing you move through multiple techniques that you don't use in the end to actually move through the process of learning. And these are just little teeny bowls for like pinches of salt or herbs or whatever somebody comes up with. And okay, here, this one I forgot to do I pencil on the designs real quickly, which may have made it easy to miss that I didn't do a line in there, which I don't see as a problem. These are handmade, and I've come to accept when a whole piece of the pot and the slip breaks out when you're doing the Sgraffito part, and here as well, that if you can actually learn to control that, you can get a bit more expression in the piece than you would with just a plain old tulip like that one. And so that one's rightly by the signature. And back to the expression bit, when I moved my signature to the front on the slipware, at first it was just straight up and down and scratched in, and now it is getting to be a bit more natural. Okay, and these are the ones that I made as a gift. You know, maybe this is why people pour the slip in to a flat bowl and out, which is a messy process before scratching it. I always brush it on, and here it's a little bit thin. They don't show up quite as much as I'd like them to. But these are part of the gift I'm taking and hopefully coming back with, okay, some new supplies. Which, if I haven't said what, we'll reveal in another video. Stop back for that. Oh, so these have my little punks. I think she'll appreciate that. Artist I did a collaborative work with, Dominica Sanchez, so hopefully she'll maybe show what she's done with the supplies that she's passing along to me. So very happy with those little guys, but this is, okay, on the other side, what I'm anxious to see. But you know, I don't want to get them out of there. Let's see what else is in here on this side first. Oh, last spring in 2021 I did these on a kick wheel. And I put a single flower. I was not prepared. I have to get out of here today to go and pick up this supplies. Great big giant rhododendron flower in what I'm calling rhododendron bowls. And this is from a series of pots I've made decades ago that I'm just repeating. I've actually designed a whole line around the loosely thrown, you know, a bit off center, the lugs casually put on, that we, you know, have to find a direction we're going to go. But I always say I would like to come back to this and just make, you know, the one pot, the one teapot, the handful of mugs, and have a little selection in the studio, in the shop, of other things. Or yeah, another way my ceramic life could have taken me. Okay, it looks like there is just another production piece in here. The glaze ran. I do the wavy bit with my finger through a slip, and the great glaze ran down to the little groove. So that's of not of little interest, but a little interest. Okay. And when I was doing those, because these will have the spout for pouring olive oil or whatever else you want to put in there, I've been doing them as my main production line, but also doing, and I really like this bird, making sure that all of my pieces, I do at least one in the slipware. And so that's what these are. They, at an art show, people knew what they were and bought up, knew that this was okay, something a bit more distinction than my average production pots, and bought up and gave me the extra money for them at the farmer's market. I think they sometimes see the farmer's market as a flea market a little bit, so they seem to shop down. and if I have something that's a slight second, you know, not really a second, but why carry it around forever? Let's get rid of it. I put a couple dollars less on it, and they love it. Okay, and you know, this takes me back to, I guess, the spring of 2021, when I dipped my first pieces in the slip bucket. And this was scratched through when it was wet. So it was, but it was a little bit dry, I think, kind of semi-scratched, semi-combed. So this was one of the first pieces that I think happened without a plan. And this sat here for over a year before it was put in the kiln. A number of people picked it up as greenware. So it's already caught people's attention quite a bit. And I like the, you know, when I dip it in the slip and then the residual marks that happen there. Okay, and this is the big event. These pieces are from, I think, what I called my Picasso pots from 2019, maybe? They sat here forever. I'm not sure I had a way to glaze them. Let's see what we've got here. And already I can see I did update my slip, that I was getting it to bubble some, but that may not be a problem on what was supposed to be art pots. These sat in the studio for several years. So you can check out my playlists or look for hashtag something, 101, one of 101 jugs. So the top was broken off. There was a second one that I broke completely. This was a ring pot that I put on there. These are just solid handles, and this was combed through a slip. The slip is actually a bit thin, but I'm thinking, you know, maybe that's not a problem. That okay, and as I said, I ground off the stamp because this was not the way it was supposed to be, but still I wanted to see it fired after so much time. Oh, we will have to, okay, we're getting a close look at this. We'll have to get another look at it from a distance, too. Let's see, the other two. And I call these the Picasso pots because the forms, okay, like this one, is from the Madoura Pottery, where he worked. And I don't know if it was one of their standard forms that he then decorated, but, you know what, oh, you know what, the glaze is a bit thin on this side. This was brushed on again, not dipped. So that may be why people dip them in the slip bucket, as opposed to, I always thought it would be so much easier to just put it on, band it while it's on the wheel. So, but, you know, it's still, the designs are still there. It may be something that you don't want it to jump across a room at you, that you want it maybe to catch your attention and then pull you in for a closer look. So 20, okay, and these ones do have my 1 of 101 jugs. I probably should have that with a hashtag that you can press to bring up those videos. On a computer, I don't know if that works on a phone. But the design may be a little faint, but on the one side, but good on the other. And these little guys have taken on so much different character depending on when and how they're drawn through, and also the state of mind I'm in at the time I draw them. And this one was left unglazed on the bottom. Okay, you know, this is not all that's in here. My very first tygs yet are on the very bottom. I'm going to grab first because I wanted to get a gift for Dominica, and I wasn't happy with the little plates, but I wanted to get her some cups. Okay, with my little drawings on them. And this is where I dip this in the slip bucket. Probably that too. I should put a hydrometer in so I know what thickness is that, for the most part, I like it in. I guess you could change that. We do have, I like this guy especially here. He's a nice one. Oh, am I glad that I've got a couple pieces to take. Oh, good. Okay, and this one really has my signature. As I said, they were first straight up and down, scratched in, and now they've, okay, got something to them. It's not easy to scratch through this stuff. Oh, so I guess it's time for me to move on to something bigger with this now. Anytime a show comes up now, I could, you know, take a theme from it for a juried show and do a platter or something big. I'm going to grab these first because I think they're more, yeah, my more commercially successful pieces, where the birds are the scratch part and the side is the comb part. I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing a little design here and here. I think I would like it, at least on the bigger ones, to continue through there. I didn't get that quite the way I wanted. Okay, not only these, the very first tygs, the very first wassailing cups, the very first, I guess they sometimes call it two handles, a loving cup, the very first don't poison me cup. We're all drinking out of the same cup. These are also the first pots, these four, off my new Klopfenstein treadle wheel. And if you're watching this channel, I think everybody who has been exposed to the idea of a treadle wheel and what it could do. And I thought this would be just the thing for the first pots off of it. And I'm happy enough with the proportions on these first two, design-wise. But what the historic pieces' proportions are and why, I don't know, so that's something to look into. Okay, and then there's the one I think I'd chosen as a gift. And even though I said I thought the handles were a bit out of proportion, that I think putting it through the glazing it and firing it softened that up maybe a bit. And you know, I did rework the crosshatch underneath the handles, so maybe I fixed something I thought was a bit of a problem. So I got the new wheel in, I think, late March, April, May. So I think I made these in the snow out on my porch, out on the step out here, before moving the wheel in. And they sat covered for a long time till they got the handles on, and sit covered for a long time before I dipped them in the slip, and then sat a bit before I did the glaze. And this one's with the 3 handles. Okay, stop back. It is time to get on the road with some pots.